Florida's Everglades National Park comprises the largest remaining subtropical wilderness in the continental United States, covering an area of 1.5 million acres. This is protected habitat for several endangered species, including the Florida panther, manatee, Atlantic loggerhead turtle, and alligator. It has been designated a biosphere reserve, a wetland of international importance, and a World Heritage Site. And it is the perfect destination for paddlers seeking a backcountry adventure. Located in southwest Florida, the National Park Service has established a waterway trail that winds its way through the mangroves. Starting at Everglades City in the north and ending at Flamingo in the south, this 100-mile-long route, that's 160 kilometers, is known as the Wilderness Waterway Trail. It is boat access only and is perfectly suited for canoes and kayaks. Throughout the route, you'll find these numbered marker posts to help guide you. However, they are no substitute for a good map and a GPS. Overnight camping is only allowed at designated locations and must be pre-booked at the ranger station before heading out. In the Everglades, there are 3 distinct types of campsites to choose from. The first is a ground site, which, as the name implies, means, of course, your tent is set up on solid ground. Your second choice is called a chickie, which is basically an elevated deck built out over the water. And your third choice for camping in the Everglades is pitching your tent on a gorgeous beach site. Ground sites tend to be located where old pioneering homesteads once stood. The buildings are long gone, and the only reminders that people once lived here are the crumbling foundation walls that still remain. These sites are equipped with picnic tables and an outhouse. No campfires are permitted on any of the ground sites. There really is not much solid ground to be found in the Everglades. From a distance, the green foliage would suggest otherwise, but upon closer inspection, you soon realize that the shoreline here consists mostly of mangrove roots and mud. And so, the park has built these structures called chickies, which give campers a stable, elevated platform on which to pitch a tent. Just make sure you have a tent that does not require pegs. And because these decks are made of wood, there are no campfires allowed here either. Situated out over the water, they often catch the breeze and as such can be less buggy than some of the ground sites. They also serve as a great fishing platform. The beach sites are located on the ocean side of the Everglades, in the waters of the Gulf of Mexico and Florida Bay. These truly are primitive sites, as they have no picnic tables or outhouses. But the trade-off here is you are allowed to have an open fire on the beach. One thing you really have to be aware of when camping the Everglades, especially on the ocean side of the tides, it's a good idea to have an updated set of tide tables with you. Here's a good example. Last night we camped here. This is the Graveyard Creek campsite, and we were able to paddle right up to our campsite. But when we woke up this morning, it's at low tide. And last night we were out here fishing. This morning, as you see, it's like 200 paces before you get out to where the water starts. Both saltwater and freshwater fishing are extremely popular in the Everglades. Non-residents are required to purchase a fishing license. Snapper, redfish, sea trout, bass, and bluegill are all plentiful. We had lots of fun pulling in some ladyfish, a sea trout, and even this big catfish. Since this is a water access park, powerboats are often a common sight in the main channels. However, there are some areas where motorboats just aren't allowed. One of those areas is a very narrow, shallow, and overgrown passage known locally as the Nightmare.
So we're going through the Nightmare section in the Wilderness Waterway in the Everglades National Park, and it is a bit of a nightmare. Looking at the NOAA maps, we were supposed to stay left the entire time. We came up to a major Y junction. There's significant stream flow and a wide channel going off to the left, and we thought, okay, we'll stick to the left. But we've come down this channel, and it's just getting narrower and narrower and narrower, and we've kind of come to an impasse. It's crossed with logs, and we're running out of water, so we're going to head on back. But yeah, this section is adequately named, and if you come in here at low water, expect a nightmare.
When most people talk about the Florida Everglades, the mental image that comes to mind is that of swamps, dense mangrove forests, and alligators. And granted, there is an awful lot of that here in the Everglades. However, there's a whole nother section worth exploring along the waters in the Gulf of Mexico. Here you will find some amazing beaches with some superb camping opportunities.